Alright, so we'll start this project with two pieces of 18 gauge round dead soft copper wires. They're both 16 inches long and I have them marked here in the middle at 8 inches. I'll take one of the wires and I'll just cut it in half right here at the center mark. No big deal. I'll take the other wire and at the center mark I'll use my flat nose pliers I'll grip it right there at the center. It's okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. And with your thumb, just push it over, completely over the plier and back onto itself, so you're making like a little U shape in the wire. Hold it steady in between your fingers and braced on the pad of your finger here, and do a gentle squeezing to get these two sides touching each other. Squeeze near the head of the bend here, just like that. No big deal. We're going to weave these wires together next, and they're going to go in this order. We'll call it the pair that are attached here, that are just bent and not cut, and then a single wire on top of that and another single wire on top of that. So we'll start weaving on the pair of wires first, the pair that are not cut but just bent in half. I'll use about 4 feet of 28 gauge. I'm not going to use the bobbin because I'm underneath the camera, so if I were over my lap then I would definitely use the bobbin, but I have about 4 feet dangling here to my right hand side. I'll hold on to about 1 inch of it right here just to get myself started, and I'll start weaving about 1/2 inch. Well, I'm going to start coiling about 1/2 inch into the frame just so I have something to hold on to here. And I'll make 13 side-by-side coils. You want to get them snug so that there are no bubbles, and make sure that they are side by side, but you don't want them so tight that they don't slide. You want them to slide just a little bit. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 coils around both of these wires. And I'll just use my thumbnails and kind of push them together and side by side. You want to make sure that this first one is pulled nice and snug so that there's no bubble there. And then you want to just slide this entire stack up so that you have about 1/4 inch. It's a little bit more than 1/4 inch away from the head of the wire where it bends. So that first mark is 1/4 inch, and then a few more millimeters, so about 10 millimeters or so, maybe 8 or 10 millimeters so of bare wire. And I'll just continue to hold on to that fragment so that my wires don't move. Once you get into position and your coils are nice and side by side, you can take your flat nose plier or your nylon jaw and just give a nice tap. These are round wires, so as you work and weave them together, they might want to swirl around on you, and that's okay. You'll just keep control of it. Go ahead and pick up a single wire now. Align it next to the pair on top of the pair. Just get the ends together like that. You're going to go up and over all 3 wires. You want to get them snug, but don't pull the little space out from between. We need to have that little space there. So 1 large coil over all of them, a second large coil over all 3 wires, come back down, and now we're going to go up and go in between the pair and the single wire. Just like that. You'll make 5 single coils here, so that's 1, 2. Sorry about my lighting. I don't know what goes on here with the fuzzy fingernails. There's 3, 4, and 5. Just pushing each time back so that they lay nice and next to each other. Once you have 5 coils over the lower pair, go all the way up, make a complete wrap around all 3 wires. We're just going to repeat this pattern one more time. So there's 2 wraps on 3 wires, and now we'll make 5 wraps on the lower pair. I'm just holding it here so that it doesn't slide too much, but I want to push my coils back as I go. So there's 1. Notice I'm doing a pre-bend. It helps the wire get through the space. There's 2. Three, 4, and 5. Just like that. And then go ahead and take your nylon jaw after you push them together and just give a nice tap and flatten them out. Keep them laying nice and side by side. So now we'll weave the 3rd frame wire into place. Just pick it up and lay it on top of the stack. Align the top here and just get it living nice and side by side. You want to maintain a slight space right there between all those wires. We're still going to treat the bottom pair as a pair, so that'll be 1, the center will be 2, and the top will be 3, or I'll refer to them as the bottom pair, the middle and the top. So from here I've got everything held together. Be careful you don't poke your finger with the end of these wires. You could snip that off if you have a sharp end there like I do. I'm just going to be careful, but be mindful of that because we're holding close here. So I'll hold everything together. I'm going to go up, go in between wires 2 and 3. I'm going to make a complete 360 around that center wire. Make sure I don't bubble my coil right there. And I'm going to come make a 360 around the center wire by coming back between pair 1 and the center wire. Then I'll go up again from the front and I'll do a complete 360 around the top wire. I'll go all the way around to the back of the stack and that makes 360. I'll come all the way down and I'll do a complete 360 around the bottom pair, and I'll repeat this pattern. Just make sure that everything is side by side as you work. So I've done a 360 around the bottom pair. I'll go up. I'll do a complete 360 around the center wire. You can fan these out slightly to make it a little easier for you to come through the wires. So I'll go between wires 2 and 3 and come back through between wires 2 and the first pair. Then I'll go up again and I'll do a complete 360 around this top wire. Come all the way down to the bottom making sure that your spaces stay consistent, or as consistent as you can get them. I'll do a complete 360 around the bottom pair, come up, do a complete 360 around the center wire, come up and do a complete 360 around this top wire, and then I'll come straight back down. And I'll repeat this pattern for 1 inch up these wires. Occasionally you'll want to push them back. Keep these aligned the best that you can. Be careful not to poke your finger. And after about 1/4 of an inch, I'm just going to take my nylon jaw and gently tap them down, making sure not to break the wire that I'm working with. So now I'm back down here. I'll do a complete 360 around the bottom pair. I'll come up, do a complete 360 around the center wire. Come up, do a complete 360 around the top wire. Then come over the top and straight down the back. This hand might get tired. You want to make sure that you're resting this thumb. It's hard to grip here. It gets a little easier when it gets longer. But here in the beginning you could use clamps or a wooden wire wedge if you have one of those. Otherwise I just hold it with my thumb, but occasionally you want to make sure to give yourself a stretch on this hand because this is a tight little hold. It works that thumb quite a bit. Alright, so eventually you can start to hold it like that and it'll be a little bit more comfortable once it gets longer for you. I'm going to continue to weave for 1 inch. So it'll be from here to 1 inch, and then we'll check our distance. Alright, so looking at this, I have from the first weave here to here is about 1 inch. Exactly. And we started with 13 weaves, or 13 coils. We did 2 complete wraps around all 3. We did 5, we did 2, we did 5, and then we did 1 inch of weave. Okay, so you want to make sure that up here the wires didn't slide at all. I'm going to change my camera so you can have a better view. So there's 1 inch of weave. You can go a little bit more if you want to. I kind of like it 1 inch so it doesn't become too much longer than 3 inches. And right here the bare wire. If I place the bare wire on the line and I look to the left, it's just shy of half an inch. So between these quarter marks, it's about all these tips. If I line this bare wire with the coiled end, if I line this wire, you can see it's just a little less than half an inch, a little bit more than a quarter of an inch. And I have all the other bare wires lined up with it. If I line up the last bare wire, the top one, you can see that it's about 3/4 of an inch long. From here, we're going to curl up these 2 loose wires, or these 2 cut wires right here on top. And the first thing I'll do though is just get rid of this one leading wire, and I'll put it back so that it's through the middle here. Put a little tension to it and do big circles until it breaks off, and it'll break right in there for you. You'll use your round nose pliers, and I'll start with this outer wire. There's 3/4 of an inch between here and the tip. I'll pull it out slightly. I'm holding on to my weave so that you know, I wove from the left to the right, so this I consider to be the top of the key, but the other side pattern is just as nice. You could also use this side for the top of the key if you prefer, but so that you know you're positioned in the right way, the curve is to the left and the weave is moving to the right. So I'll take this wire, grip it with my round nose. I'm at a little bit of an odd angle because I'm underneath the camera. I'm going to hold it tight. I'm going to start a nice little curl on it. Regrip and keep curling. Keep curling until you get down to the weave here. With this next one, I'll pull it forward slightly. Take my round nose, and I'm going to turn a tight curl in the opposite direction. Let's pull it out to about here. Turn a very, very tight little curl here at the end. Just like that. The wire still moves up and down. There's Jolene. So once you get that little turn down, you can take either your flat nose or your bent nose pliers and pull out slightly. You can see that I'm pulling the wire out slightly just by turning it and giving it slight pressure. So you'll pull it out until it's about you know, the same. I went a little bit far, but until it's the same as the curved wire here. It's okay if you go out a little far like I did. And then you'll take it here at the center and you'll curl it back. And you'll have to just negotiate it a little bit. I'll get my flat nose on it. Making sure that the head of this curl and this curl meet but don't collide. You can just pull this other one up slightly until they meet each other but don't collide. And I like to just settle this one all the way back. Against itself there, just like that. And that makes for a really nice end to the key. Optionally, you can hammer these if you wanted to. I might just demonstrate that, but you don't have to. If you want to hammer them, you can get your bench block out. Make sure you don't hammer your weave, so you're going to angle it kind of like this. You'll use very controlled hammer strikes and just hit the edges but not your weave. So just hit the bare wire. And it gives it just a little bit of sturdiness plus a nice little flare. You can sand all of that to save on my tennis elbow, I'm not going to sand any of it. It looks pretty good. And that's about all the hammering you have to do. Okay, so from here I'm going to spread them out, making sure my weave is nice and it's all pushed back. I'm going to hold everything evenly, everything is nice and straight, and I'm just going to take this outside wire and I'm going to bend it down horizontally to 90 degrees, just like that. You certainly could do that with a plier also if you want. I'm just going to use my hands, and then I'll do the same on this other side. Just bend the wire down to 90 degrees and horizontal. And then we'll do the same thing with these two inner wires, but you want to make sure on this curve that you leave a little bit of gap, so when we turn it, you kind of bow the wire slightly. See, on the pad of my finger, I'm making sure that I have just a little bit of gap in that corner if I can. Just like that. You can barely see it, but you can see the little gap that I have there. Do that to the best of your ability. And you just want a slight gap between the wires here. Just take them down to horizontal, just like that, so you can get a weaving wire in between them. Okay? So you'll do the same on the opposite side. Just take and try to bend that wire in such a way that you give yourself a tiny little gap in between them. You can even just stick your fingernail in there and create a tiny little gap like that. If you can't bend them like mine, you can just stick your fingernail in there and give yourself a tiny little gap, just like that. It'll help you get the weaving wire in between them. Okay, so I'm going to leave the rest of this weaving wire. You should have about a foot or so. You can leave it there for now, or you can we'll just take it off actually to keep things nice and clean. Let's start a fresh piece of weaving wire. We're going to get 3 feet of 28 gauge, 3 feet to do the side weaves. I decided to change to the black stone. So to get around our 1-inch stone, it's going to take 15 repeats on each side of the wire. So I'll use 3 feet for the one side, and then I'll get a fresh 3 feet for the other side. So I have 3 feet of 28 gauge. It's just dangling off to my right hand side, and I'll just insert a leading 1/2 inch or 1 inch tail to hold on to. I'll get right into that corner there, and I'll make 5 wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those are 5 single coils right there on the bottom wire. Now I'll jump up and I'll make 2 complete wraps over both frame wires. There's 1, there's 2, and then I'll do 5 single coils on the lower frame wire. And I'll repeat this for 15 times, but at the 4th one, when we begin the 5th one, I'm going to show us a little bit of a trick. We're going to do a drop loop. So there's 4, there's 5, and I'll do 2 over the top, make sure that each coil is side by side and not overlapping the previous one. I'm going to just use my fingernails and push them back against each other. So that's 2 repeats, 2 peaks. This will be number 3. And then I'll do 5 single coils. Push them all back. Sometimes it gets a little tight, so you just stick your fingernail in there and make sure you maintain a slight space, just enough for the weaving wire to get through. Here's my 4th repeat. Push it all back. I think that's 4. I need to do one more. And that's 5. And now on my 5th repeat, I'm going to do a drop loop. So I'll show you what that means in a minute. So we'll go ahead and make our 2 coils around 2 frame wires. We're going to do 2 single coils. There's 1. There's 2. Now I'm going to drop about 1 inch and give myself a big loop. I'll come back between them and I'll just keep my finger there and make sure I've got an inch. It'll slide. Once you have it, just pull it up and put it underneath your fingernail and hold on to it and keep in your pattern. So there's 3 coils, there's 4, and there's 5. Once you get that, just push them all back. Just go ahead and straighten it out. It's on the back side, so this is the front of my frame, right? My key teeth go this way. It'll be to the back side of the frame. It'll help us to tie on the back wires, and they might be a little bit, squirrely to hang on to, but it'll be worth it to you to be able to use them to tie on the back wires. So I'll stay in this pattern. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 peaks. Just keep it from sliding. I'll make 2 more full wraps and stay in my pattern. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's for 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 repeats. And at the 8th repeat, I'm going to go ahead and make another drop loop. So I'll weave 4 peaks in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll do a drop loop. Okay, so there's 1 coil, 2, 3, 4, 5, do 2 over both frame wires. And right here, I think I'm just going to pause I'll make sure to push everything together. Use your plier and hold on to it and pull everything back. Make sure that they're nice and tight against each other. Tap everything down. Make sure you don't break the two back wires while you're tapping. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll do 2 complete coils. And that's 4 of them. So on this next one, so you see I have 1, 2, 3, 4. When I started the 5th one, I did a drop coil. So there goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to do 2 single wraps. And then I'm going to drop a coil, a long coil, about 1 inch. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Go back in between these 2 wires and stay in pattern. So there's number 3. It'll slip until you get a couple of wraps. There's number 4. There's number 5. And now just push this up, so flat against the back and up. You can put them together like that. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one will be 10. This peak. And we'll just stay in pattern. There's 10, and then I'll do 5 single coils. And I'll do 2 over both frame wires. Take my flat nose and just make sure to tap everything gently. You can also be using a nylon jaw. Make sure not to break your 2 back wires while you're tapping them down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm going to do 14 on both sides, on each side. This is 12. 1, 13. There's 14. And I know I said 15, but I like to stop 1 short just to see where I am around the stone, and then I can always stitch 1 extra on if I need to. So there's 4, there's 5. Okay. So I'll hold on to the wires right here, and I'll pull gently back to make sure they're all settled against each other nicely. You saw it move a little bit. I'll tap these wires, but I'll make sure to avoid my 2 back wires so I don't crush them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14 of them. So I'll just stay like that, and I've got about a foot left on my weaving wire. I'll go ahead and get rid of the front tail just to keep it clean. Give a little bit of tension and make circles until it breaks off. And now I'll get another 3 feet of 28 gauge weaving wire. So we'll keep everything nice and neat while we work, and I'm going to turn the key upside down so I can weave facing the front of my key. I'm going to insert about a 1/2 inch or an inch in between these wires, and I'll start by making 5 single coils on this upper frame wire. It's going to want to butterfly on you. You just keep control over it. There's one. Once we get a few weaves in, it won't do that so much. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll make sure they're pulled back nicely, and now I'm going to jump across and wrap for 2 coils over 2 frame wires. There's 1, there's 2. I'll come between them and continue 5 single coils on the upper frame wire so that it matches the other side. There's 4, 5. Pull them back against each other. Holding it close right here helps a lot. Three, 4, 5. Now I'll go over 1, 2. So this will be my 4th repeat. And then I'm going to do 2 single wraps. And then from the back, I'll make a drop loop about 1 inch. Just hold it on my finger there. Come back between these. Keep wrapping. So I'll get stay in pattern there. That's 3, 4, 5, and then I'll just take this and pull it to the inside like the other ones. That is the back side of my key, and I'll just stay in pattern from here. And I'll do 4 more repeats. This is my 4th repeat. So I'll do 2. Then I'll come between them and I'll do 2 single coils. There's 1. There's 2. And then I'll drop a loop about an inch or so. Come back between them. Just hold it there with your fingernail and do the best you can to get a couple more wraps. There's 1, there's 2 and 3. And now I'll drop this loop to the back, just like that. And I'll continue with my pattern. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I will do 6 more for 14. Or 5 more. I think we did, yeah, 13 or 14. I think we did 14. There's 2. 3, 4, 5, pull everything back, and just continue until you have 14 total peaks. I'll continue till I get to here. Okay, now that I have 14 peaks on both sides, I'm looking at the front of my key. I'm going to just turn it over, whoop, and get rid of this bleeding fragment by giving some tension and big circles until it breaks. And now I'm going to put all of these little tabs, these little wraps, just down to the bottom. Try not to let it bubble here in the front, just pinch it right there. It'll help you when we wrap around the stone to have these at the bottom. So like right here, I'll just pinch it and just pinch it. You can put all the wires to the bottom. I'm looking at the front of my key. My teeth are going to the left. So now we need to wrap these arms around the stone evenly, and I'll show you a little trick that I do. So I get a 2 or 3 inch piece of tape and I put it sticky side up and stick my wire to it. I stick the stone to it. It happens to be an inch wide. That's about right. That's pretty good there. It'll help me hold on to it. And then I can kind of hold on to everything a little bit easier. Keep the stone centered and just curl my wire, curve my wire, use the edge of the stone to help me get to the top of it. That's pretty good there. What you want to do is make sure that you crisscross over the top center here, so the wire springs back a little bit, so you can overturn it slightly. So you can see here, you know, by the time I get it snug around there and bent up, it'll be just over these two, which is where you want it, because the other side needs space to bend up as well. You could also do this down here on your board. I could make sure that my stone is on some center lines. I don't have to use the tape, but I still could. Oh, come over here so I'm not colliding with stuff. And that's pretty good there. Once I get crossed across the center, and you know these two bare wires are over these two over here, because there'll be two more, I'll go ahead and straighten these wires out. I'll make sure that my key stays on the horizontal line as best that I can, and I can use my fingers to get it started by giving some space. Here's your center line. Just keep it on the center of the tape. And you just want to turn your wire so that you're just to the outside of that center line, or that horizontal line right there. And then you'll go ahead and do the same with the opposite wire, the other wire, I mean. Just start the turn and then come up. You want there to be a little bit of room between the top of the stone and the first bend. That's about 3 millimeters, so that's pretty good there. And we'll have room to adjust this too. So you just want to be fairly close to that horizontal line that runs up the center, and that's pretty good there. And now we can hold everything steady, take the other wires and bend them using the edge of the stone. Just like that. You want to overextend the bend a little bit because it's going to spring back a little bit. So you'll just have about 1 millimeter around the whole thing. And we'll go ahead and curve these up. And that's pretty good right there. Okay. And we can finagle it a little bit, but you kind of, let me change my camera angle again. Kind of looking like that. That looks pretty good. You've got your 4 tie wires to the back here, and I'll show you how those work. You can just let them hang out right there for now. So we did 14 of these peaks. I am going to go ahead and do one more on each side just to hold that corner a little bit better. So I'll make 2 wraps, making sure that I get right there on that corner. And then I'm going to do 5. I'll do the same to the other side. Go ahead and use this wire and do a 15th peak over here, just to catch that corner a little better. There's one. There's two. Come between them. I'll do 5 single coils. That's 3, 4, and 5. So that's pretty good there. I'm just going to use my nylon job and I'll tap everything. Still be careful of your tie wires right there. Make sure that you don't tap so hard that you break them off. Just give a little jiggle side to side to get the wires nice and flat. And your your stone should still sit in there pretty well, and it does. So that's looking pretty good. I'll go ahead and put these a little bit closer together. I'm going to take the sides and I'll bend them outwards slightly. I'll get the 2 center wires lined up as well as I can. Take a plier and even kind of pinch them right here a little bit. Whoop. Jiggle side to side. Get them ready for wrapping. I'll just go ahead and use one of these that's attached right here. I'll just jump over, and all I'm going to do is make 5 or 6 wraps. You want them snug, but you want the wires side by side. So there's 2. Three, 4, 5. I'm going to leave my bail bare, so I'm just going to tie 5 right there. I'm going to bend my bail wires over and catch it again with the wire that's still there. So I'm looking at the front of my key. My teeth go to the left. I've just tied the 2 center wires, and I'm just going to jiggle them to get them close together and make sure that they're center. I'm going to go up about a 1/2 inch. I'll bend these out slightly more just to get them out of my way. I'll take my round nose plier and about 1/2 inch up. Get about midway into my plier. My bail doesn't need to be too large, but that's about a 1/2 inch from the curve to the top of the plier, and I'll just bend it over. I'm looking for a 1/2 inch bail altogether, and I'll just come straight over my pliers, straight down the center of the key. Because these are tapered pliers, I'll come to this side and I'll tap to make sure both loops are even, and I'll push slightly right here at the neck and get my 2 wires dented a little bit right there. I'll take the bail wire, the wrap around that we've been using around the bail, and I'll just go ahead and make a few wraps, and you can just go right over the other ones or right below them. There's 2. I'm just going right below. Just keep it looking neat. And you only need a couple of them. So there's 2 of them. You could do more if you want. I'm just going to do a couple of them. Just keep your other wires neat while you're working. Get everything nice and lined up. After you've wrapped the neck a couple of times, come around the 2 center wires a couple of times. There's 2, there's 3, and I'll just go ahead and break that off right there. I'll hold tension and give big circles till it breaks, or I could have just cut it right there as well. Okay, so I'm looking at the back of the key. My little wires are there and ready to go. My bail has been created. Everything's laying nice and flat. I'm going to go ahead and spread these 2 center wires out. I'm going to try to keep my bail loops from pulling when I separate these. So I'll just put my bail wire in, my plier in there, and hold it while I separate these 2. If you think you can do it with just your hands, you can do that too. Bring them so that they are at the top of your frame. Try not to misshapen your frame as you work, and try to keep this bail centered to the rest of the key. You're always making sure everything is laying nice and symmetrical. You can leave these just kind of tilted down slightly, and you'll shape this inside wire, this bare wire, to the inside of your frame, just like that, using your thumb. You'll get it right next to the weaved wire. You'll use these wires right here. We're looking at the back of our key, and you'll use these wires to tie this frame wire on. I like to start with the top one because it's easy to pass through, and you just want your wire to stay slightly to the inside. I'll make a couple of wraps. Nice and tight. I'll do the same with this second wire, pair of wires here. Just make sure my frame wire is close. Come around, try to keep them side by side if you can. And I'll make another wrap. Sometimes it's easier to use your pliers and help you get that wire around. Change my camera a little bit here so you can see that. This wire is in the back, so you want to make sure this one's laying just slightly towards the back as well. It's kind of how it's going to wrap anyway. Just like that, and to the inside. Okay, so I'll cut these off, and then I'll use my fine plier, and I will tap it down So I'll snip it off with just a little millimeter there, and I'll use my fine plier, or you could also use your chain nose plier. I could have left a little bit more there, and just roll it to the inside. Give this one a little bit more. You want the cut living on the inside of the frame, so you can give it a little bit more than I just did. It's a little bit too much. About like that. Cut the other one a little bit short. Now when you roll it, it'll be to the inside of the frame, which will be underneath the stone. Okay? Down here, where it curves, you just want to bend this wire straight back out. So you can do that with some pliers if you want. Just right there at the corner. Just like that. And now we'll repeat on this side. We'll shape it so that it's right there at the edge of the weaved frame. We'll tie it, making sure we don't have any bubbles right there on the other side. I'm going to use my pliers. Sorry about that, guys. Kind of got off the camera. So now I'll do this one. I guess I could have tied it the other way, so I'll cut this one so that my cuts are underneath here. I'll do this one the same way. And I'll just cut it from underneath since I wrapped these the opposite way. Didn't mean to, but either way works. And then right down here at the curve, take my plier and just turn it outward, just like that. And now you have all 4 tie wires attached to the back. This is the front of the key. Your stone should rest in there pretty well. If not, you can always pull that bare wire in slightly. I might have to do that, but we'll see. So your stone should sit right there on the back wires, just like that. I might have to pull mine in slightly. So let me take my flat nose. First of all, make sure that my weaved wires stay nice and flat. Be careful not to break your tie wires. You can put a slight inward straightening bend on these wires right here and just pull them in slightly. The same goes for these bottom wires. Once we tie them up, they'll be inward slightly. And actually, let's go ahead and do that. We have this excess wire up here, so let's go ahead and break it off. So give a little tension and big circles. We'll use it and we'll tie these two together. Just feed an inch in there. When you pull them together, they should be inside the frame slightly. And we'll just do a quick figure 8, a few stitches here. So 360 the bottom one, go underneath the opposite one and do a 360, go underneath the opposite wire and do a 360, go underneath the opposite wire and do a 360, and we'll just do that one more time, and that'll be it. So about 4 or 5 repeats right there. And that'll hold those wires together. I'm going to get rid of this leading wire. And so the back of your frame should look a little bit like this, kind of like a spade of sorts. And you can bend these two wires out slightly more once you get them tied up. That's the back. So now just take my flat nose and tap on my weave a little bit. Now my stone should sit in there pretty well, and it does, just like that. The back kind of looks like this. Looks nice and clean. And now with these two down here, we can go ahead and break this wire off. So give a little tension in big circles. Keep everything neat. So now we're looking at the front of the key again. I'm going to tap my bail wires just to make sure that they stay even, since we did some manipulation there. And down here with these, I'm going to turn them up and over this space. So I'm going to take a flat plier and just hold on to the wire back there and up here, so I have some leverage, and I'll turn it up, push it over the frame diagonally, kind of into that little crevice right there. Tap it. You don't need to crush it, just tap it. And then right here at the base of the weave, right there, just a millimeter in. You can do this down there on your board, but right here about a millimeter in, I'm doing it up here in the air to show you. I'm going to just take a turn on the wire. You'd be down here, hold on to that edge and, push your wire over. You want there to be a slight bit of room because the stone's got to go in there. So just turn the wire until it matches the curve of the frame right there, just like that. And you'll do the same with this opposite side. So we'll hold it right there for leverage. Make sure we're in the actual curve right there. Push up. Go diagonal across the frame. Tap it a little bit. And then you just want to hold right here at the edge of the weave so my plier isn't going beyond the weave. Got about the bottom millimeter. And I can turn a very sharp turn right here outward. Kind of match the base of the frame there. You want there to be a little bit of space because we've got to still get the stone in there. So just a tiny little pocket like that. So now we can see if our stone fits in there. Should be able to just set your stone right inside the weaved area. Looks good. The weaved part of the frame should go all the way around the stone, and it does. That looks pretty good. And the two wires should be just at the base of the stone right there. So we're going to curve these up along the side of the stone, and then we're going to dive them through that little space and lock these off. Okay, so you can kind of push these back to the top a little bit. Make sure that your weaved frame is nice and level. And you can do this down there on your board. I'm going to do it up here so you can see in the camera. But I'm basically going to use my thumb. I'll hold my stone in place. I'll put my thumb there to give a brace, and I'll use the side of the stone to help me curve the wire just over the soft shoulder of the stone until I cross it diagonally. So I'm just on top of the soft shoulder of the stone, and I'm going diagonally across the top. So I've got a nice curve that holds that shoulder in place. So right there, right where that little V is, I'm going to go ahead and bend the wire and curve through there. So I'll just earmark that spot with a tiny little bend. I want to make sure this wire stays on the soft shoulder of my stone. I'm going to pull this out without changing anything. I'm going to bend the very tip of this, and I'm going to stick it through the very middle. And then I'll push, and I'll pull from the back, pull down, and push this wire forward until it rests on the side of your stone again, on the soft edge, on the soft shoulder. Make sure that it's actually sitting on the stone, so you want to make sure to look at it from the side, and that looks pretty good there. Once you get it, you want to hold it in place, hold it down on the stone, make sure the stone is inside the weave, and then take a really sharp bend in that wire to lock it in place, just like that. Get your flat pliers and squeeze. Do a gentle squeeze, very gentle, just to get it a little closer. It should be over the soft shoulder of that stone. And now from the back, just turn it up slightly so that it's going, towards this shoulder edge right here. And you want to make sure that you've got space enough for the second wire, because the second wire is going right through there too. So while you're back here, if you think you don't have enough space, just take your plier and open it up a little bit and make a little space. And that should be plenty. Okay, you don't want to crush that too much because you want that to stay on the shoulder of your stone. We'll tie it off in just a second here. So we'll make sure everything is nice and even. Make sure your weave is even, and then squeeze a little bit more. We're going to bring this over the soft shoulder. You don't want to pull too much. You want it to stay on the shoulder but not pull too much in. So we'll get this pointed forward. I'm deliberately bending that wire, and I'm going to cut it so that there's just enough that when I turn it under, it's going to face itself. Okay, so I'll cut it with about 2 millimeters to spare. I'll use my flat plier. I'll get behind the wire and in front of the cut, and I'll just ease the cut down into place. Got a nice tight squeeze, and the head of the cut is just looking at itself down there. And if this wire pulls a little bit, you can push back on it a little bit, and that should be a nice tight fit. And we'll just repeat with the other side now. This wire is a little shorter. I hope I have enough. Okay, So I'm just going to hold everything and I'll use the edge of the stone. I'll curve all the way to the top. Ooh, I'm barely going to have enough, you guys. Let me see if I lift this a little bit. Give myself a little bit more. I'm going to have just enough. So curve around and then dive through there and flip around. I might be a smidge short. Hopefully you are not. Okay, so I'll turn the wire right there. If you're watching ahead, you might give yourself an extra inch. Make sure you're not short. I'll push through the center there. Push my wire onto the stone and pull it from the back. Ooh, it's going to be tight. I don't know that I'll make it all the way around, but at least I'll make this much. Hopefully you guys make it all the way around so that you can flip over the front. How did I get so short? I don't know. Yeah, so if you're watching ahead, hopefully you're not short. Give yourself an extra inch. I wasn't short on the last one. I must have made something a little wider, or maybe I weaved this a little longer on this one. So I'm going to try to get a tiny little flip over, even if it's just for pretend. Ooh. Well, anyway, you guys get the idea. That one for me will just have to end back here. So I'll just snip it right here. So you can't see it in the front. I'm just going to cover that space anyway, but so mine didn't quite make it. I'm just going to lock it into place right there by turning this down. Just making sure it stays in place right there. So I'm going to cover that neck, so it's okay that I have one tie and not on the other side. If you guys find yourselves short, you can kind of fiddle the same way. I must have cut this wire a little bit short. The last one was not short that I did. So I'll just tap the bail, making sure that these are always even. And now we'll work with these two wires on the side for design. And let me just tap this down here too, make sure it lays down nice. Sometimes they lift when we're finagling them. Okay, so just like that. Still looks pretty good. So now with these two, about halfway up the bail, I'll take my wide nose plier and just hold on to it for measure, and take a bend forward and diagonally across the stone. So I have this little bit of a flip. I'll hold it here at the top. I'll curve it out slightly and then swing this wire and curve it so that it's just outside of this first wire that holds the stone. Push that a little bit forward and down. I like it to cover just a little bit of the front of the bail, and it lays to the outside of this other wire. Just like that. Super cute. You might squeeze this a little bit, but make sure that it stays in front of the bail there. And we'll take this now and shape along the side of the stone. Make sure it's just to the outside. So the first wire is just on top of the soft shoulder, the second wire is just to the outside, the sides. Bring it down here. Right here at the curve, we're going to bend it back. So you'll want to make sure that you got some space right there and that it's laying the way you want it to, nice and elegant. Right in here you can either put your finger or you can use your plier. Hold it in place while you bend it back. Just like that. Just like that. So now I'll do the same with this opposite wire. I'll use my wide plier and just go hold it about middle of the bail. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as the other side. And I'm going to push forward and diagonally across the stone. I'll take it by its side and just do a gentle curve. Push inward and do a gentle curve. And then take the wire and swing it out. Go just beyond the wire that holds the stone. Kind of push with your finger. I like to get that just a little bit in front of the bail like that. That's super cute. Make sure that this one comes down along the side of the stone. I'll just hold it there and use the edge of the stone to curve it around. Make sure to give it a little bit of space so that it sits on the side of the stone, that the neck is laying down nicely. And then right here, right in that crevice, just going to put my thumb right before it and take a sharp curve out. Or you could take your plier and let your plier help you make that bend so that it's snug right in that corner, but still goes along the side of the stone. And then we'll tie that. So that looks pretty good. So you should be about like this. Just use your fingers and make sure that this lays down nicely. You might tap it a little bit, thin it up a little bit. Check both sides, make sure that they're the same. I like to stay just in front of the bail slightly. You might have to tap the weave to keep it upright. Be careful that you don't break those tie wires in the back. Okay, and now we'll tie these down and tie these at the top shoulders. We're almost done. It's looking pretty good. So we'll get 6 inches or some of the scrap 28 that you've got laying around here from our work earlier. And this is about 8 inches. I just grabbed some scrap. And to get these shoulders, it's going to be tight because this inside wire lays on the stone. A little trick is to pull the wire. A little trick is to pull the wire up and forward to create a slight space, and this will make it easier for you to curve the wire underneath it. So try to get where they meet right here at the shoulders is where we want to be. Let me lift this slightly more. Lift them both slightly. Sometimes it's easier to come from this direction. Yeah. So just slip underneath them. Get about an inch so you can hold on to it. And right here where they both meet at the narrowest place, we'll just make 4 ties. So I'll curve my wire at the end here a little bit. It'll be easier to help me get underneath here. Actually, so I'll pull this forward slightly, not enough to alter it, but just enough to get underneath it. Put a slight bend at the end of your wire. These ties are optional, but I do find that it just helps to make everything feel a little more secure. So I'm going to pull it through. It's easier to thread on the side of the stone, so I'm going to pull it through so that I have the majority of my length on this side. I'm going to hold on to just an inch or two over here, and I'm going to wrap where they meet at the most narrow place. So I'll put a little curve on my wire. Sometimes it's easier to get through at the bottom, and then you can pull towards the top. So there's one wrap. Seems to be a little easier to get through down here. And the outside wire isn't tied, so certainly we can lift that one. There's two. Three. And four. So to get rid of the wire now, I'll make sure that there's a little tension, and I'll do big circles so it snaps right down there. And this one I could either do the same, or I can pull it over the top, cut it, and tuck it back, which is what I'm going to do. I'll cut it so that there's a millimeter to spare right there. I'll take my fine plier, turn it over that curve, get on top of it, and tuck it back. Try to give everything a little bit of a tap, just like that. Nice and clean. We'll continue to use some of that scrap. If you feel like you can work with 3 or 4 inches, take that, otherwise get a fresh piece. It'll be a little easier down here. There's more space. Put a curve at the end of your wire. Stick your 28 gauge through there. We're going to tie it together right there, close to the corner. So there's just a little bit of a gap. Just be patient and squeeze through. You can use your plier to help you. There's one wrap. There's two. There's three. Trying to stay face to the camera for you, but it's easier for me to go. There it is. I think I'm just going to go with those 4. I'll take this one over the top to make 5. break the one that's on the back off by giving tension and some big circles. And then in the front, I'll cut this one so that there's just a couple of millimeter. I'll use my fine plier, turn it to the back, get on top of it, and turn it all the way under for a nice clean finish there. Woo! Pretty good, you guys. And I'll just use my fingernails and make sure that this is all laying on the side of the stone. Make sure that my weaved frame is sitting nice and that it didn't turn while I was working. I'll check the top up here and squeeze it a little bit while I hold the bottom here. Tighten everything up. I think I'm going to pinch it up a little bit. That's pretty good there. So now I'll do this side. Same thing, I will lift this inside wire slightly so that I can get underneath it. I've got another 7-inch or so piece of scrap here. I'll come through and hold on to 1 inch of it. Use the wire and pull them close together. It's a little bit easier for me to get through around the bottom there, so I'm going to sneak through down here. Get one more. Okay. Just get that nice and tight. Take this one over the shoulder. I'll cut it. Well, actually, I'm going to go, this one I'll take from the back, so I'll have to loop this one more time to make 5. And that way, when I come over this way, it'll be 5. So this one in the back, I'll just break off with a little bit of tension and big circles until it breaks. And this one, I'll cut so that I have a couple of millimeter, or at least 1 millimeter, so I can turn it back, get on top of it, and tuck it underneath. Nice and neat. That looks really good in the front. One more tie and we're almost done, you guys. So down here, I'll make sure that I got a little bit of space. I can push these wires back down. I can make sure that this wire fits in the corner nicely. And I can also make sure that if I need to, I'll lift this a little bit ahead of time to make sure I can sneak underneath there. And I've got about 4 inches of scrap right here. I'll use it. This is the hardest part of the day, you guys. Let me lift this a little bit more. Okay, so I've gotten through there. I'm going to hold on to a little 1/2 inch here. And then I will make 5 wraps. Kind of get through that space in the middle. Try not to cross your wires like I just did. So there's one. There's 2. 3. 4. And I'll go for one more. 5. This one I'll break off on this side since it's underneath. And this one I can actually do the same. I can just hold it right there, give big circles and a little tension until it breaks on the inside, and that looks pretty good. I could sharpen up this bend right here a little bit. I don't know if you need to do yours, you could, you don't have to. Just a little bit of a squiggle so it gets in there a little better. Straighten out your side wires, make sure they're all laying back down nicely. Look from the top and pull back. Should be pretty good like that. Make sure that these two are still going diagonally nicely, and one more bend, we'll take them to the back and do one more design on the top, and then we'll be all done, you guys. But you could certainly, be doing anything you want. You could be adding wire. The stone is in here pretty securely now, and so this extra wire down here is just, for additional design, but you could do whatever you wanted with it. I'm going to take it back over the top and just do a little squirrel up here, and then maybe add a bead ball on. So down here, right where it meets the weave, I'll use a fine plier. Make sure you don't nick the wire. Do a bend, a hard bend, going to the back. Go up diagonally. Put your thumb right there and just put a gentle curve on the wire so that it goes straight up the middle. Just like that. We'll do the same for the other side, so you have just a little nub right there. And we'll do the same for this side. Just put your finger right there so you have some leverage. Take your time, bend the wire, don't pull, don't push. Once you get a nice 90-degree bend on it, you can hold on to it and help it along with your finger. Take it diagonally across the stone. If you need to pinch it a little bit, you can. I do. Just like that. So I got just a little bit of a nub right there. And from here you'll just curve it and take it straight up the back. Make sure that both are laying straight on the back of the stone nicely. It's not too bubbled right there. you need to take your flat nose and pinch everything again, you can. Straighten it all up. Give everything a nice settling pinch here. That's pretty good. Pull these back down along the sides. Should feel pretty tight. The whole setting should feel very secure right now. And you have these 2 additional wires you can do anything with. To make it simple for us, I think I'm just going to show you how to do that little bit of a squirrel. So you could tie those together a little bit if you wanted to. For me, because to save my hands right now, they're getting tired, I'm just going to leave them bare. But up here, right above these 2 first little turns, and you could make those a little bit wider if you wanted to, slightly. I'm going to go ahead and bend these over them. So you want to make sure you got enough room for a chain to get through, but you can put a second decoration on here by bending the wire and bringing it down to the front. It's pretty soft, so you have this little bit right here. Once you get it turned, you can take a flat nose and squeeze it narrow a little bit. Let me fix my bail. So I've just come over the top like that, and I've made another little flip, and I'll do the same with this opposite side. I say I'm not going to tie the back, but I'm probably going to end up putting a couple of stitches back there anyway to show you. So I'll just turn it with my finger, or you can use your plier. They don't have to be exactly the same. Just push it down onto the front, make it kind of even to the other one, or however you please, and then I'll just squeeze it a little bit, narrow it up a little bit. So both the front are going down elegantly. I'm going to take my round nose and just go back in here and straighten out my bail again. And I'll open up the bail a little bit so we can camouflage that little bit by turning the bail outward slightly and just giving it a little stylized flair. That way it doesn't have to be the same. So that's very pretty. I think I like that. And you still have plenty of room for a chain to get through there. And again, I'll probably end up putting a few stitches here just so that those don't end up wobbling around later. Look on top and make sure that all these little ears are kind of the same in diameter, the same size, looking beautiful. And now we'll use these 2 in the front, and we'll make a little design at the neck, and then we'll be all done. So I'll start with the right hand side one. I just lay them down a little bit. I'll trim it so that I have, this is about a total of an inch, I would say. Trim it to where it's just about middle of the stone, or wherever you like. I'll take my round nose pliers, and I'll be very careful not to scratch my stone. I won't be on top of the stone at all. I'll be hovering just above it. I'll hold very tightly. Got my thumb here on top of everything, and I will make a cute little spiral right into the center of that space, just like that. Super cute. I'll take the opposite wire I'll use a fine plier. You can use your bent nose or you can use your chain nose pliers. Curve it outward slightly, hold it here at the neck. And all you're going to do is come around the first design. If you can hold it with your fingers, do that. It's just pretty short now, is why I've got my plier. Just be real careful of your stone. Just turn this wire. I'm not on top of the stone at all with my plier. I'm just going to curve that around, and I'm going to point the tip of it underneath the spiral, the first little spiral that I made. Get a real nice turn on the tip of that, and then just help it in there, and go ahead and get that positioned however you like it. So the tip of it is way in there, you can see it, and then get my spiral to live kind of there in the middle, and I love that. And that's about it, you guys. So cute. Whoop! My wire spool just fell off. That's it, you guys. What a beautiful looking key. It's gorgeous in the back. If you want to, you can take another 4 or so inch piece, give a few stitches right here. Only if you want to. I like to, just to make sure these wires don't ever flop around, and then you can attach them to the 2 sides if you want, or to the back of the bail, even right here, or just a few wraps, and don't worry about anything else so that they don't separate. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, you guys, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know how you feel by leaving me a comment. And if you make one, please tag me on social media and let me see your beautiful work so we can celebrate you. I appreciate you being here watching my channel and creating with me. And I'm going to put a nice chain on this and be right back with the finished piece to show you what that looks like. A few stitches there. Cut them off and trim them. I am working on a PDF tutorial of this key, so you can be on the lookout for that pretty soon. It'll have another variation of this. Just tuck that one in there. Nice and clean. And beautiful on the back and on the front. Alright, I'll be back with a chain and show you this gorgeous finished piece in just a second. I might put a bead ball actually right in there. Let's do that before we finish. Okay, so I found a 3mm bead ball that I think will be perfect for that spot. And I'll show you how I tie them on. Got about 4 inches of wire here, 28 gauge. Just make a little pin out of it. There are 2 back wires that you can easily attach this onto so that we don't have to tie to the front. So I'll just try to straddle those 2 back wires back there. Push my bead through, make sure that it sits nice and center and that the holes are on the sides and not facing forward. You might sometimes have to get a plier and finagle the bead straight a little bit. Try not to crush the bead. So just like that, that looks good. Keep it pulled tight, and now back here I can easily tie on to anything, including these 2 very convenient wires right here. Be easy. Okay, and I think that this might be it for today, you guys. A few ties there, little tension and big circles to break it off. Make sure the bead is sitting nice, and then tie it off to this frame wire back here. hope you guys enjoy making a ton of these. One of you said that keys are magical, and I agree. I think that they are. And I think that they are very much fun to make. There we go. And I love the little bead ball on it. So that turned out super cute, you guys. Just go through and make little love taps here and there. And patina and polish this all up, and it'll be spectacular and super fun to wear. Okay, and I've put my favorite little faceted 1mm ball chain with it. Look how absolutely cute and darling this is, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that project. I had a lot of fun making this key, and I think this is what we're going to do for membership live stream this month as well. Show you how to make a couple of variations, maybe using a heart stone. That would be very cute. Or putting a teardrop stone in here. That also would be very cute. Alright, so please give me a thumbs up if you had a good time. And I send you lots of love and good vibes, and we will see you for the next one. Thanks, everyone. Bye.